This is a Big Facts Network exclusive.
Let's talk about the black agenda.
The real black agenda. We got a bunch of Yowza Boss, Shade Tree, House Coons.
How do we get the black community to wake up?
So at some point, you got to understand all the boomers need to go.
So how do you think the world would have turned out right now in present day where we are now, where everything that happened had Kamala Harris made it into office instead of Donald Trump?
It would have still been a shit show.
Talk to us about the YN apocalypse.
When you're getting paid by daddy government because daddy government did the baby face on you, I'll pay your rent. Then you get this propaganda, this person's got to be a high value man. He got to have 6-7 figures for you to even look his way. He got to take you on a $300 meal date.
So how do we fix this situation?
Stay out of father's business.
You must know that there are a lot of black men who don't move like you, who are not successful, who don't want to go to school, who don't want to do anything with their life.
Black women are the largest group of entrepreneurs. They also have more degrees. Having more degrees than a thermometer does not mean that you understand the temperature of our people.
Everyone's talking about my new talk show, Live with Carisha. We shoot live on Thursdays in Atlanta. It's amazing. What are you waiting for? Tap in.
Welcome to the stage, Dave Anderson, the business bully. College professor.
Yes, ma'am.
Published author.
Yes, ma'am.
23 books published.
Correct.
Media tyrant, media titan. And you scale businesses into millionaire status.
Thanks.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's an honor. So before we get into the nitty gritty, I wanted to touch on the Charlie Kirk situation. Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay, what's your thoughts on that? Do you feel like people are out of touch with empathy since his shooting, or?
Listen, man, here's the bottom line. When it comes to somebody like Charlie Kirk, everybody is the bad guy in somebody's story. And sometimes people don't understand in this charged environment, if you say something somebody don't like, they're going to try and pop you. That man didn't deserve to lose his life. And what people don't understand, when white people catch a cold, black people get full-blown AIDS. And so we got to be real careful as to how we talk about and acknowledge what happened, because there are people like celebrating and then next thing you know they're losing their job. Then they crying on the same TikTok talking about, I can't believe I got fired because I made fun of Charlie Kirk. You made fun of a man who got shot down in front of his wife and children.
Right.
Like, so at some point you got to understand when somebody you know, and I know I've been black a long time, don't plan on switching up.
You said you've been black a long time.
I've been black a long time, 48 years of blackness.
All my life.
We'll keep it up. I know plenty of people who got shot and gunned down, and I would feel some type of way, you know, if people was cheering and applauding for that. You know, we've all lost someone, and so, you know, God bless him. I didn't agree with a lot of his rhetoric, but I will defend his right to say it because, again, you start messing with white people's rights, our rights ain't got a chance.
And Dave Anderson, y'all. I told you he was opinionated. Now take us back home. What was home life like for you? How did you get so articulate, so smart, so successful?
My dad was a cop. My mom was a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher. I had an uncle who was a teacher. I spent a lot of time in books. And then, shoot, man, I grew up with a speech impediment for a real long time, and then I had to go through speech therapy, so that meant I spent a lot of time reading. Yeah, I speak publicly. I had a speech impediment, and I have dyslexia and dyscalculia.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have never known any of that.
You're not supposed to. I'm not walking around here like a victim.
Right. I love that.
You know, so it comes down to just spending time researching, and in my house, the way I grew up, even with my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, everybody, you could have an opinion, but you better be ready to back it up. You couldn't just say whatever you wanted to say without having some evidence, some knowledge of what was happening. And so, you know, the other part of that is I was raised to play for my last name. When you look at anybody's jersey who's a professional athlete, they have their last name on their back. And your name was supposed to mean something. You know, so I wasn't going to go out here and dishonor my grandfather's name, my father's name, my mother's name by just, you know, not living up to my full potential. So
Let's talk about the Black Agenda.
The real Black Agenda.
The book. He has a book out called The Black Agenda.
The real Black Agenda.
The real Black Agenda. So what internal or external movement led you to realize that a different conversation was needed?
Because you got a bunch of Yowza Boss, Shade Tree house coons either on television, in the pulpit, or being elected, sitting up here promising you things and never delivering on them. Like, for the past 60 years, black people have not been flourishing the way we should, even though we love hollering out hashtag Black Excellence. We love talking about our accomplishments. Somebody graduates, that's great, but we're number one in student loan debt, right? Our wealth has dropped 60% over the past 10, 15 years. And so at some point, we got to realize that everybody is eating off us. We love talking about for the culture and how the culture is this, the culture is that, but white people own the culture. It's our culture, but they're monetizing it. And so at some point, you got to realize everywhere else you go, like when I was in radio, I lived in 34 cities in 19 states, and I saw the same thing everywhere. There was a Chinatown, there was a Little Italy, there was a Koreatown, but I didn't see Brothertown or Black Girl Magicville. But I did see the hood everywhere I went.
Right.
That's by design. And so in order to fix that, we got to start shutting down our wagons, stop trying to take everybody's cause, stop fighting for illegal immigrants, fighting for this cause, fighting for that cause, while everybody else walks on our back and get benefits we ain't got yet.
Talk about it. Now, with the Black Agenda, did you
The real Black Agenda.
The real Black Agenda. Did you struggle with finding a balance between, being brutally honest and not being offensive in your book?
If black people can't take brutal honesty at this point, then I feel sorry for you. You're not my audience. Like, at some point, we got to stop coddling people. Like, we the only group of people that sits up here and tries to make all these arrangements for our trash.
So,
never should have ate it.
What?
Big as hell.
So what's
Took your times, y'all.
What's your thoughts about him? How do you feel about him?
The same way I feel about most of these mega preachers. What good are they? All they do is Yowza Boss. And again, what do you have to show? The Bible says you will know the tree by the fruit that it bears. What fruit have they bear? You know what I'm saying? Like, didn't Jamal Bryant say, I'm going to take the land because I want the brothers that smell like weed? Did he start the dispensary yet? Did we get the new birth dispensary?
No.
That hasn't happened. But you got time to be on CNN, and then you got to try and blackmail Target for $250 million just so that you can wear your mama's brooch and, talk about things that really don't affect us, because DEI only helps white women. It doesn't really help us. 4% of all DEI jobs go to black people, but nearly 60% of the DEI firings go to black people. But good job, Jamal. Keep collecting in buckets.
Keep good job, Jamal. So was there a particular event, like a personal situation that you went through that inspired you to write The Black Agenda?
The real Black Agenda.
The real Black Agenda.
It was the fact that I have a YouTube channel called I Never Knew TV, and we have different black voices throughout the diaspora, so here on the continent, in the Caribbean. And when I launched the Ask Dave Anderson series, I would pose these problems and things that I saw happen in the community, and everybody in the comment want to be a thumb thug talking about, well, what's the solution? I hear you talking about the problems, but what's the solution? I need a solution. So I spent 30,000 plus words giving y'all a solution, so now you ain't got no excuse. You don't want to listen to Killer Mike. You don't want to listen to David Banner. You didn't want to listen to Dr. Claude Anderson. You didn't want to listen to Ice Cube. You didn't want to listen to Farrakhan. So hopefully, me putting this out will allow somebody to start taking some action.
Do you feel like the black community is ready to read the truths in the real Black Agenda?
Whether they're ready or not, here it is.
Was there any part of the book that you hesitated to write because you didn't want to be offensive?
It's not even about being offensive. I hesitated to talk about the fact that we're in bed with the Democratic Party and we ain't got nothing for it. The only time you ever see these folks is when they come to New Birth because it's their birthday, or they want to stand around and dance with pudgy-ass Worrell and Martin and do some horrible-ass dance. You never see them do anything effectively in the black community. The same people who you say are racist are not the only racist. Joe Biden was mentored by Strom Thurmond, racist. He was mentored by Robert Byrd and eulogized him. Robert Byrd was a Klansman, but he reformed because that type of deep-seated racism over 100 some odd years just magically goes away. He said that he didn't want people growing up in a racial jungle. And so when you tell black people anything bad about Democrats, they're like, oh, Lord, no, you best not say nothing about Bill Clinton. You best not say nothing about Master Biden. And Lord, don't come for Barack. Right. And it's just like, okay. When Trayvon Martin died, what did Barack do? He could have been my son. And then he walked his ass right back in the White House.
So I guess the question that I have for you is, because listen, I'm on the same page. How do we get the black community to wake up and kind of wean away from the Democrat community? I feel like it's coming in small numbers, but for the most part, and my own family members, my older family members, they really was like feeling some type of way when I told them that I didn't want to vote Democrat. Like, it's like, they feel like our older black family members feel like just because we're black, we have to vote Democrat. Like, we have to. So
the same baby boomers in the first half of Gen Xers that got us in this mess are now talking about they're upset. You gave us this world. You let them run wild. You let them run ragged, do whatever they want. You didn't ask for anything. We live in a country that is not a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. The founding fathers never wanted any type of democracy, because for those of you who spent no time in third grade civics, democracy means the majority rules. The founding fathers didn't want that. They wanted to keep their landmass slave-owning game going. And so if you understand that this is not about a democracy, you got more control over who's WWE champion than you do who's president. So at some point, you got to understand all the boomers need to go. Go sit down, hang it up, you ruined us, now we gotta fix this mess. Here's the thing, gay people. I didn't say nothing yet. Gay people have representatives on both sides of the aisle. If you think I'm lying, explain Bruce, I'm sorry, Caitlyn Jenner. Hispanics have people on both sides of the aisle. Who's the Chinese American leader? You don't know who they are. You want to know why? They too busy running Chinatown, and it doesn't matter how many conglomerates I put up. It doesn't matter how many businesses I acquire. I can't buy an inch of land in Chinatown, but yet and still you got Chinese people giving you chicken wings covered in MSG. You got Korean people doing your nails, putting gel in it. You realize gel manicures just got banned in the UK? You got Indians and Ethiopian people giving you Dunkin' Donuts. They tell you there's no money in the hood, but McDonald's don't build nothing that is not a profit center, so why are there so many McDonald's in the hood? They convince you that the hood was the problem, but the problem is the hood has not woken up to what's really happening. And so I don't really give a rat's ass. If you go independent and you say, give me something for my vote, are you dating? Are you messing with somebody right now? Have you seen somebody recently?
Who, me?
You. I'm talking to you.
You mean like, am I married?
No, I know you're not married, but I mean, are you seeing somebody? Have you seen somebody before?
I'm not married.
Have you been on a date before?
Yes.
Okay. Did you just say, you know what, skip the date, we just gonna go home? No, you want to make sure that this person is invested in you, cares about you, you want to know how they act. But you're treating your political future and your community's future like a one-night stand and you too horny to do anything about it. And what do? They come along and they fuck you. Excuse my language, but that's the only way I can say it.
You mean the Democratic Party, they come along?
The Democratic Party knows that y'all not going nowhere. That's why they were so big on these illegals, because they want to get a second voter base that's going to be loyal to them.
So how do you think the world would have turned out right now in present day where we are now, where everything that happened had Kamala Harris made it into office instead of Donald Trump?
I mean, they tried their best to install her. It would have still been a shit show. Period, point blank. Here's the thing. Forget how you feel about the former vice president. Forget whether or not she's black or Jamaican, even though I have never heard her finish the sentence, boom, bye, bye, in a body boy, it. She don't know that. She graduated in 1986, but swore she listened to Tribe Called Quest and Snoop Dogg when she was in college. All of that aside, nobody voted for her in a primary. She went on The View, which is friendly to everything Democratic and everything female, and they gave her a low IQ question, which was, if you could do anything different than what Joe Biden has done so far, what would you change? I wouldn't change anything. Joe, we did it, Joe. What did she do? What did she do?
At 29 Sky Entertainment, they are introducing fresh talent and creativity to the world. They offer innovative services in marketing, artist development, management, and more. So make sure you follow 29 Sky Entertainment on all social media platforms. They also offer security and truck and Ubering services. That's right, they have all of the resources to help you with your music and deliver your heavy loads all around the world. Don't stress no more as an artist. Find a label that can get behind you and help you get the work done today.
Let's change gears a little bit. Your media platform, he has an amazing media platform. It's about pushing the needle and using your brain. Now, you spoke also about Roland Martin.
I did.
And I got a quote. You called Roland Martin, you said he is cosplaying in kente cloth.
Yeah, cosplaying in kente cloth, but they all do. Nancy Pelosi cosplayed in kente cloth.
Now, for Mr. Martin, as somebody who, you keep it real, what would you like to see Mr. Martin do more of for the black community?
So he sat up there, and he kept talking about, well, the Congressional Black Caucus, go to my iPad, and then what have we gotten? We gotten a YouTube channel because he can't keep a job in mainstream broadcasting, and then he bitches and moans all the time about how he's not getting enough money, but he got $300,000 from Kamala Harris's campaign and still couldn't help her deliver black community. What has he done significantly other than complain and bitch? And then when he says something about people who disagree with him, he calls them dumbasses.
Right.
And then when people who are masculine come and confront him, he hides behind black women and runs and calls for security. He won't have a conversation to anybody with any type of level of intelligence worth respecting, and yet and still, he's dancing for Hillary Clinton, he danced for Obama, he's dancing for Kamala, he's dancing for whoever he wants, and that's the thing. He's an entertainer. He's not a politician, and he hasn't been a journalist for 15 years. What did Malcolm X say? Do not listen to entertainers, comedians, and trumpet players. What are we doing? Listening to entertainers, comedians, and trumpet players. D.L. Hughley got a GED, and this is who you listen to? D.L. Hughley is a multi-millionaire, but he's mad every single day. How many D.L. Hughley scholars? Anybody got the D.L. Hughley scholarship? Anybody got the D.L. Hughley real estate supplementary program? So why is he so mad? Why is he yelling and screaming all the time?
I feel like celebrities feel like that just because they have a name, they can go into like the podcast realm, and just because you have the following, you feel like you have the credentials and the background to go into that atmosphere. That's just my thoughts.
I mean, that's a feeling. That doesn't make it a fact. You are entitled to your own feelings, but it don't mean it's a fact. Like, my child plays Grand Theft Auto, but she's 10 years old with autism. I'm not going to give her the keys to my truck because that would be irresponsible and stupid, and they would probably jail me for that. Sometimes a microphone in the wrong hands is a weapon. And like I said, you will know the tree from the fruit that it bears. Show me the fruit, and then we can have a conversation.
Talk to us about the YN apocalypse.
So again, this is another thing that Gen X and the baby boomers did, which was not pay attention to the importance of rearing your child. When you're getting paid by daddy government, because daddy government did the baby face on you, I'll pay your rent, I'll buy your clothes, I'll give you housing too, just don't have a man in the house. When daddy is out of the equation because you forced him out, you get YNs. For every action, this is science, y'all learned this in 9th grade. In every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So now you got these kids out here in Pooh Shiesty masks because you have not taught them that they can do something with their hands. You told them to go to college, and I'm sorry, everybody ain't a scholar. My grandfather put 7 kids through college with a 6th grade education just working with his hands. We get off of that because that's not sexy enough. Then you get this propaganda of this person's got to be a high-value man. He got to have 6, 7 figures for you to even look his way. He got to take you on a $300 meal date. The first date, don't know your middle name, your last name, your blood type, or your STD panel. But you want all these things for him. So at the end of the day, what's happened is these YNs are out here robbing you because you did not give them any skills to focus on. You did not give them anything to do. You did not give them any sense of self. You did not build up their self-esteem, and you did not hug your boys. You let your boys run and let the streets raise them, and now you're mad that it's coming home to roost. You did that.
So how do we fix this situation?
First of all, stay out of father's business. Let me give you an example. I have 2 daughters. I know nothing about menstruation. I watch my children come into the world, but I don't know what it is to have the pain of childbirth. I stay in my lane. Protect, provide, back up my wife. If I had sons, my wife would fall back because it is my job, like it was my father's job and his father's job before him, to raise his son into a man. We have taught our children, we have taught society, and we put a battery in our women's back by telling them that masculinity is toxic, that submission is wrong. I got to submit to God. I got to submit to the IRS. You submit to your white-ass boss every single day, but yet and still you won't submit to your husbands. But then you get on these podcasts, you get on these television shows, you watch these reality shows that are scripted, and you sit up there and you say, I want a man who's a provider. No. Your husband is supposed to be a provider. We out of whack. Iyanla Van Zandt told y'all was out of order, and nobody wanted to hear it.
So maybe I feel like with the submission thing, I feel like, because that's like a hot topic on the podcast world with submission, but we keep telling black women to submit to men that don't have their life together.
Who said that?
How can you submit to a man who doesn't submit to God? Everybody's not like you.
I understand that.
You are like in the rare percentage.
I get that.
You must know that there are a lot of black men who don't move like you, who are not successful, who don't want to go to school, who don't want to do anything with their life, who don't have any finances, who don't have any ambition, who have nothing to offer but some dick.
Okay.
So how can you keep telling? And
yes.
Let's talk about it,
Clap it
because
up.
let's talk about it. Black women are in record numbers going to college. We're opening degrees. We're getting accolades. We're running nonprofits. There's a large portion of black women who are educating themselves and taking their lives to the next level, while the black men are not reaching those goals. They're not meeting us on those levels.
Black women are the largest group of entrepreneurs. They also have more degrees. There are more black women in the C-suite. And to quote Dr. Umar Johnson, you don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
It's very suspicious.
You don't find that suspicious?
Go ahead.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Black women also have the majority and the highest rate of student loan debt, which means your debt to income ratio is shot. Problem number 1. Problem number 2 is you spend all that time getting these things on you and not getting any learning in you. Having more degrees than a thermometer does not mean that you understand the temperature of our people. On top of that, I don't need a degree to tell you I'm a man. Most of my degrees are sitting in a drawer, and the rest of them are at my mama's house in Arizona. I ain't seen them. It don't matter. Everything I learned in college was about happening outside of the classroom.
But you went to college, though.
Hold on.
You went to college, though.
I went to college to please my mother. I had a record deal. I was singing backgrounds for Teddy Pendergrass. Let's tell the whole story, not just the parts you like. And
but
most
you still
of us,
went to college.
Again, most of us, black men specifically, go to college out of pressure from their mamas and their grandmamas, not because it's something to do to better themselves. The school industrial complex is made for black women. There have been several studies on this that talk about how young black boys are automatically labeled as behavior problems. They were labeled as educable mentally retarded back when Les Brown was in school, and that's going all the way back to the 50s. Then you sit up there and you put them in the programs, then you double down on their reading scores so that you know how many prisons to build. Everything is set up to make sure you rise and think that you are now above us, as opposed to realizing that there's a conspiracy to separate you from me.
So how do we fix it is what I'm trying to get at.
First of all, you sat up there and gave me a 30-minute dissertation on how great black women were doing, but the second I
support my black women, that's all.
I support black women.
Support black men
Here's
too,
the thing. The majority of my clients, the majority of my executive staff, my man Ricardo Cordial, who's been a client of mine for 5 years, he will tell you the majority of the people in my executive team are black women. I have put more black women in the 1% than Nick Cannon with a bag of Viagra. So this is not about supporting black women.
Okay.
There's a woman named Anissa Getna who had a nursing business, and she had a credit business, and she went and bought her husband. By the time I was done with her, she went and bought her husband a car dealership, then moved to South Africa. She got an AT&T grant. So when it comes to supporting black women, I don't talk about it, I be about it. So that's not the issue. The issue is we need to fix it by divorcing ourselves from their agenda, which is educate our women, make them feel so high up because they got the C-suite positions, they got the degrees, they got the jobs that they put them in, while they disqualify us, underqualify us, tell us we can't do anything, take all of the skilled labor out, and then when they don't take the skilled labor out, they sit there and then make it look like there's something wrong with that. Even look at the movies. There's been Tyler Perry movies where the dude is a mechanic. The least watched Tyler Perry movie is what? Daddy's Little Girls, because God forbid you see a responsible single father and a baby mama who decided that a drug dealer, a YN, is better than a dude that works hard every day, because that's not sexy enough to brag for your friends. You have to understand that this is a psychological op that is played on so many levels that nobody wants to talk about it. So the solution is we go independent, we reject our trash, we stop taking in every piece of bad bitch bullshit that we get. We start looking at the fact that we don't have one black-owned record company, but we got all these black record labels run by palm-colored people with little hats on the back of their heads telling us how we should operate, and then they sit down with Charlemagne and say, oh, well, I just gotta eat. Leor Cohen, you've eaten, bro. You created a 360 deal. Y'all don't want to do payday loans, but what the hell you think a record deal is?
Talk to me about the 360 deal now.
So,
The 360 deal.
All right, so a 360 deal means that instead of you just signing a record deal and they get their money from the record sales, they get money from your email list, your website, your touring, your merchandise, your name, image, and likeness. They own you, and they give you a big old advance, and when you don't possibly clear that advance, they turn around and give you another one. Look at Drake.
I thought you were referencing the 360 deal into the black community. I'm sorry. I knew what the 360 deal was. I guess what I'm trying to get from you, and I really appreciate your wisdom coming on the show. I really just want to find like the common ground, because I understand what you're saying, where black women go to school and they get degrees and they feel like they're higher up. But how do we, level it out?
It's not you versus me. It's you and me, right? So here's the thing. When we were allowed to go to school before our women were, we came back and we taught our women. We have to start realizing that we need to raise our entire community, not just our children. So if you're coming with information, instead of standing on the corner with your girls talking about, clock it, I got this many degrees, clock it. Why don't you start clocking the ability to start elevating all of us? We need think tanks that don't involve white money, non-black money, and I'm not saying we can't have allies, but we need to start circling our wagons amongst each other. We need to start circling our dollars amongst each other. The Jews do it, the Italians do it, the Chinese do it. When black people do it, they look at you like you crazy. There is no reason that FUBU should not still be hot today. Y'all rocking Ralph Lauren. There is no reason why Motown should have been sold to anybody but black hands. There's no reason why BET should have been sold to anybody but black hands. And y'all crying about the BET Hip Hop Awards. Hello, Boo Boo Cakes. BET ain't been owned by black people in 27 years.
Hallelujah, amen.
So if you want a solution, the solution is ignore the rhetoric, ignore the propaganda, and realize that I am not your competition. I am your completion. I am the one that's supposed to protect you, but the Bible says it is better for a man to live in the roof of his house than be in a house with a quarrelsome woman. Calm all that down. All that sprinkle shit, calm that down. And by the way, when it comes, and this is just me making sure that I'm giving you a solution, if you are so talented, so gifted, so degreed, so smart, how you let dumb niggas nut up in you and make babies
You over here talking?
without a ring, without any type of commitment, and then you go and say that you don't like the white man, he's oppressing you, this, that, and the third, but you go to your white boss, then you go to your daddy government, and you allow daddy government to go tax this man instead of working it out with this man. And if this man was a deadbeat, you should have known that before you shed your clothes like Country Crock and spread your legs. There's accountability on both sides.
Dave Anderson, I totally agree. There is accountability. Before we home run, we gotta go. I gotta put you in some hot seat questions. How did your experience in the media industry shape your approach to entrepreneurship?
All right. I left the media because people kept taking my ideas and making millions off of them. Period, point blank. There have been top-rated TV shows I came up with I'll never get credit for. You can go look on my YouTube channel if you want to see some pilots. There are apps and ideas I won't get credit for. And because I was young and I didn't know any better, I learned the term work for hire. And my whole thing is, y'all keep making all this money and I'm not getting no residuals, and it's a work for hire, then I'm going to head and retire. So at 34 years of age, I walked away from the industry and I have not been back. I've been offered at least 29 jobs. None of them backed up a Brinks truck big enough for me to come back. And I realized that the only way to get there is to own your stuff, because when it's their game and you're playing in their game, I know you think you're on your corporate hustle, but the truth of the matter is you got to sit up there and realize that you're the engine, you're the creativity, so you ought to be able to create. That brother did 11 years in jail, and then he turned around and made an app because he saw that the calling system wasn't working right. That's genius.
Genius.
Tap into your genius and stop letting them exploit it for pennies on the dollar.
Well said. Well said. Who was the most difficult person you ever had to deal with in the industry?
Aside from myself?
Yes.
Ricky Smiley.
Oh, my God.
No. See, again, this is not to disparage that man. Because I remember in 2000 in Fayetteville, North Carolina, when comedy clubs wouldn't let me on the stage because I was on the radio, even though I'm a Laugh House original. Before Kevin Hart ever graced the stage, I was doing Laugh House numbers. Ricky Smiley paid me out of his own pocket and gave me his spot. So credit where credit is due. He took a 28-year-old kid and made him a producer, even though I'd already worked with Wendy Williams, even though I'd already worked with DJ Clue. He said, I want that dude.
Right.
So this is not to disparage him, but you got to remember, 15 years ago, we didn't have the conversations we have now in normalized mental health. We don't talk about ADHD and bipolar the same way. We don't understand the pressures that they do, and you also don't understand the corporate game they run. So they'll run to the talent and say, hey, your producer's doing this, that, and the third. Then they'll run to the producer like, you got to get the talent together. But if the person writing your check can't control you, how you expect a 28-year-old kid to do it?
Right. So that's what, you were the 28-year-old kid.
I was. So they come to you, let's just say theoretically, hypothetically, allegedly, they say, you either get him together or you're going to turn around and it'll be D.L. Hughley and the rest of y'all, or it'll be Rudy Rush and the rest of y'all, or it'll be Cedric the Entertainer and the rest of y'all. And this man is one of my best friends. When you can't get to somebody, you divide and conquer.
Right.
And to me, that was heartbreaking. It was difficult. And after that experience, I wound up homeless.
Oh, no. From the situation with Ricky Smiley?
Yep. Because he wouldn't talk about what actually happened. They made me hire consultants, and they was bugging him, so on and so forth. And so as a result, like, jobs I was up for, all of a sudden wasn't calling me. Friends that I had supported, stood up in their weddings, wasn't calling me. And the savings ran out. The job wasn't happening. I wound up sleeping in my truck and washing my nuts in the gas station sink.
At that point in your life, so how did you get back to where you are now, get back to the successful side of yourself?
I had a family. I went home. I had a family that covered me. I had a praying grandmama. And my mother was nice enough to say, listen, you can have my house, build your business, build yourself. And then, I got my family, and then I was able to be what some people would consider successful. I don't feel like I'm successful. I think there's more to do. I ain't but 48. I ain't 50 yet. I feel like my greatest accomplishments are ahead of me. Where I was at 28 ain't where I am at 48. So it's nice to talk about the past, but I don't live there.
What's some of the things you want to accomplish?
Wow. I want to make sure that my daughters marry really competent people that love them and take care of them better than I can currently take care of them. I want to make sure that I'm giving voice to people who don't normally get that opportunity, either because of how they look or what they say. I'm consistently looking for new things to innovate. Like, I just created a company called Zenith Media Labs, and so people don't understand.
Say it one more time.
Zenith.
Zenith
Media Labs. It's a company because virality, going viral. I want to go viral. Virality is a science, and once you understand how to hack that algorithm, you can do anything. So I got my own version of ManyChat. I did a whole lot of stuff, but my main thing right now is I want to be happy, and happiness comes when I finally figure out the one thing I haven't accomplished yet. Because every time I set my mind to doing something, I do it, and then I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do next?
Right.
And so that's what I'm on, man. I want to be able to mentor and uplift people like you.
Thank you.
You know, help people grow their plans, grow their businesses. Because here's the thing. You ever heard the phrase, it's lonely at the top? The reason that it's lonely at the top is because a lot of black people get to the top and they shut the door behind them and they don't want to let you in.
Gatekeepers.
So I'm of the mind to do that, which is why, like, normally for a consult with me is $3,000 an hour. But because it's Carisha the Diva, I want to make sure if you want to have a consult with me right now, if you go to my Instagram, you click the link in my bio, there's a 30-minute consult for $297 and a 60-minute consult for $497. And with that comes a plan from my team, with that also comes 3 extra coaching sessions for me because I want to make sure you're successful. That's the difference between talking about it and being about it. If you're not willing to invest in yourself a little bit, you can't expect to make millions. You might as well just go to your cubicle, they waiting on you, and if you got hit by a bus, they're going to have your job filled before you get flowers at your funeral.
You better talk about it, Mr. Anderson. We love it. Where can we follow you at online, and where can people buy the book, The Real Black Agenda?
For those of you who don't have your book here and it's on Amazon, let me tell you something. Amazon's taking 70% of your profit. I use Amazon for what it's supposed to be. It's a tool. It's a hub. So you get my book directly from me at therealblackagenda.com. Again, therealblackagenda.com. Say it with me now. It's like a pimp named Slickback. You say the whole thing. Therealblackagenda.com. My social media is at The Business Bully. I'll be right there in the VIP if you want to book a consult and buy a book. That's what I'm here for. I thank you so much for this platform. This is absolutely amazing. I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy you give an opportunity to people who otherwise would not be able to have that opportunity, and I'm proud of your journey, and I'm proud of you.
This man is, do your research. Thank you, everybody. Dave Anderson, The Business Bully.
Ooh, I like that one.